Hello, 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 everybody. That's my signature wave. It's me, Sia Knight, the college savvy coach, and welcome to day two of your college prep challenge. So, the name of the challenge is Prep Your Child for College in 5 days. And what I've done is I've come up with five different task for you to do in order to get your child closer to his or her college dreams, and also in an effort to get you closer to having the peace of mind of knowing that you are moving in the right direction. So, as I mentioned before, just a little bit about myself. If you are new to me or my audience, I'm Sia Knight. I'm the college savvy coach, and I'm a former teacher, former school counselor. I also served as the program manager for a program that helped primarily first generation college students get to and through college. And it was during that time that I recognize my passion for working with parents with this college admissions process. It took me back because I grew up the only child of a single mother, and I knew a couple of things growing up. I knew, number one, that I was going to college because my mom wasn't playing that. And I knew also, number two, that she didn't have the background, the knowledge, the experience, the education to help me get there. So what did she do? She got help from different programs, different people, and I've never forgotten that. And that's one reason why I continue to do this. I do several other things as well, but I cannot give up being the college savvy coach. So that's a little bit about me and my background. Now, let me also tell you that I'm the mother. I have two children. One's in middle school and one's in elementary school. And the college process, getting them ready, is already started. Not just because I'm the college savvy coach, but it's time. So those of you who were there for day one, you met my seventh grader who talked a little bit about what his aspirations are. In fact, day one was get curious. Get curious. And what I ask you to do as parents is I ask you to talk to your child. Talk to them about what college they think they want to go to. Talk to them about what they want to maybe study. And those are the questions that sometimes we ask our child once when they're very young, but we don't necessarily revisit them. So that was day one. Now comes day two. Before I get into the heart of this, before I get into the meat of the content, I do want to remind you all to share. So share 3 times. Share with 3 people that you know need this content. So you can go to bit.ly/college challenge. And the 2 C's are capital. College challenge. The 2 C's are capital. And as a member of the challenge group, what you do is you get this information in advance. So this morning, my challengers got an email with this information. So a lot of them had the opportunity to talk to their child in advance and ask those questions. Yesterday's questions about be curious, talk to your child, reconnect with them. You want to alleviate miscommunication and also assumptions, which are 2 very, very bad things when it comes to a parent-child relationship. And then today, it's day 2. Get knowledgeable. So what does that mean, Sia Knight? I know you're the college savvy coach, knowledgeable. Am I going to have to do a lot of homework and go to school with this whole college process? Maybe you will. So Day 2, get knowledgeable. What does that mean? That means I'm going to build on what you did yesterday. And if you haven't done it, I mean, these tasks are designed to be small, bite-sized chunks that will help you get ready for this college process. But what I want you to do is build on what you learned yesterday from your child. And what I'll do is I will use my child as kind of the example of what I'm talking about. Now, I had to twist his arm to join me yesterday. And so today I thought I told him I'd give him a break. So I'm not going to have him here on camera, but I will use the information that he shared yesterday to kind of answer some of the questions that we had today. So the first thing that I wanted you to do is to research one of the careers. Yesterday, as you recall, the question was, what career are you interested in? And then the second question was about college. So your task today was to research the careers. Now, when I say your task, I really mean your child's task. And it was funny because I picked up my son, and on the way home, I said, oh, I've got that Facebook Live. I said, he told me that he wanted to be an electrical engineer. And so I said, well, what does an electrical engineer do? And he said, I don't know, electrical stuff. I said, okay, well, let's try to narrow it down a little bit. And we were able to do that. And nowadays, there's no excuse. With the Google schmoogle, there's no excuse. You should be able to get that information like in a second, 5 seconds. Thanks so much for sharing, Monique. I saw that. Wonderful. So when you talk about researching, the first thing that I ask is, what education is required to enter this career? So again, I'm going to use my son as an example. That's, the cost of doing business. That's what that's what we do. He told me he wanted to be an electrical engineer. And I said, so you want to go to people's houses and fix their electronics and stuff? And he said, yes. I said, okay, well, you're saving me a bunch of money because that's an electrician. That's not an electrical engineer. So we looked it up and we found out that an electrical engineer does a lot of problem solving with things and developing things when it comes to electronics. But one requires a college degree, electrical engineer, and the electrician requires a lot of training, not necessarily a 4-year degree. So that's important for you to know, and it's important for your child to know. Next, is there any special training involved with this career? So if your child says they want to be a teacher, that's great. There are some other things that they will need in order to be a teacher. They have to pass an exam. They have to make sure they meet the state's requirements, etc. So you need to know if there's any certification that's needed for the job or the career in advance. Next, this one was exciting. What is the typical starting salary for this particular job, for this particular career? And my son was very pleased to find out the starting salary. I think he said it was $66,000 for electrical engineer. So what that did for him was that it focused him even more in terms of what he wanted to do. Now, the purpose is not to kind of get these kids and kind of have them narrow down what they want to do and to have them absolutely sign a contract in blood that, yes, you're in 7th grade, tell me what you want to do, you're going to stick with it. No, I'm a firm believer in, you don't have to know exactly what you want to do when you're in 7th grade, when you're in 10th grade, when you're a freshman in college. However, I do say pick something. Pick something, use that, focus on that, and by focusing on that particular thing, you can decide whether or not this is what you want to go further in. Okay, so it could be Electrical engineer. That's what I thought I wanted to be from the time I was 12. And then I went to high school and I studied in, engineering or technology education. And then I got to college and I realized, I don't like this. So that's okay. However, for me to go just kind of very, very lost and having no direction, I try to help kind of drive people or guide parents so that they can guide their students into a direction. All right. Next thing that we asked your child yesterday was to tell us what colleges they were interested in. My son mentioned MIT and Stanford. Okay, cool. So I was interested to know what he knew about either one of these schools. Where's the college located? That's the first question. He knew where the colleges were. That was a good step. Sometimes your children will tell you, "Oh, I want to go to Harvard." Okay, if you know your child doesn't like snow and cold weather, then you might want to counsel them about what the weather can be like up in Mass. You might want to let them know that they're not going to be able to wear the flip-flops and the shorts that they have grown accustomed to. So those are the types of discussions, again, preliminary stuff, but important conversations to have. This is the way you get your foot in the door. This is the way you start the conversation so that, well, let me back up. Let me tell you what has happened. People don't have these conversations. When their child gets into 11th grade, parents are asking their child, "Okay, what you doing? Where you going? What's going on? What's happening?" The child's like, I don't know. They hadn't really thought about it. Or they're going by what their friends say. Okay. And then, but their heart's not in it. They haven't really put a lot of thought, a lot of attention to it. Then senior year rolls around. The parents are saying, "Hey, what's going on? Have you applied? What's going on?" And then the student's like, "Oh, okay." And they do something haphazardly. Then the parents are again trying to say, "Okay, so what about the scholarship stuff?" So what I like to do is I like to kind of get this out on the table early. I happen to have a 7th grader. I say grades 6 through 10 are the prime times where you want to start these conversations, right? So where's the college located? The next question for your child is this: how many students attend this school? This was an interesting one for me and my son because he knows how big his middle school is, okay? About 1,200 students. So I said, "Hey, you know what? How many students would you like to have on a college campus?" He said, "Oh, maybe about, not too many." I said, "Okay." So we looked at the two schools he mentioned, MIT. MIT has like 12,000 students. He's like, "Oh, that's a lot of people." So, okay. And we looked at Stanford. Stanford had 16,000, I think. And again, he's like, "Oh, this is interesting." So in his mind, I don't think he knows what 11,000 people on a college campus looks like, or 16,000 people on a college campus looks like. But these are these are conversation starters. These are ways to kind of open the door to start the conversation. And the last question, next to the last question is, how much does this cost? How much is this school? And again, what I often have seen is that parents don't have these conversations until after the child's been accepted and they're trying to choose, and parents then fess up. "Well, you know what, that college fund?" The child says yes. And the parent says, "Yeah, it doesn't exist." So if you are upfront with your child, if you tell your child and "Hey, guess what? It's in state. That's how we're rolling in this family," and you tell them early, then that can definitely set the mindset in terms of, okay, well, I just need to cozy up to one of these in-state schools. Or if you have a number that you want to work within, you have to be open and honest with your child. And sometimes we are, as parents, we kind of hold back. We don't want to tell our children too much, especially about the finance piece. But this is not the time to really kind of do a lot of hiding and go into the closet about finances, because when it comes to that FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, all of your information goes there. All of the parent information goes on the FAFSA, not the student information. So just kind of keep that, kind of make sure you talk about that and start that conversation early. And the last thing is the college that your child mentioned that you're doing a little bit of research on, does that school even have the major that your child's interested in? So let's say your child has chosen Morehouse. Your son has chosen Morehouse, but he wants to be, let me think of something. He wants to study marine biology. And you don't find out till senior year, because he has studied Morehouse, because he's worked with the college savvy coach. He knows what he needs to do. He knows he has to focus, what grades he needs, etc. But by senior year, you kind of, wow, marine biology, they don't have it. That's a shame. You don't want to get into that predicament. So make sure you know what majors your intended college has. So that's the heart of the content for today. The first 2 days, these are days that were designed for you to kind of get into the trenches with your child, to kind of touch base and to have that conversation. From this point on, though, you're going to spin off and start to do some of your own research, some of your own fact finding, because what's going to happen is, well, what happens sometimes is that parents, they start their research, their fact finding, and they do it in a vacuum because they are not sure about what their child is interested in, what schools they're interested in. So hopefully this helps you to narrow the focus, because from here, days 3, 4, and 5, you're going to do some of your own research. You're going to do some of your own investigation, so that you will know better how to guide your student. And that's our goal. Our goal is not for us to do this college process for our child. The goal is for us to make sure that we can be the effective guide on the side, someone to give advice, someone to give encouragement, and someone who can give knowledgeable perspective. So that's it for the content from today. I wanted to, before I sign off, I'll ask one last time, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to type it in and let me know. I'll check the Facebook group as well to see if any questions have popped up. But let's see, I don't see any right now. But I want you to make sure that you are going into the Facebook group for this challenge. I want to make sure that you are posting the information, even if you're a day or two behind. Make sure you post this information, if for no other reason, to memorialize it, because how many times have we touched base with our children, and then you have these little pieces of paper around, and you say, oh, yeah, I wrote it. It's right here. Here it is. Or here it is. It's on this piece of paper. Or here. Yeah, no, that's not going to do. We want to make sure that you have the information, that you keep the information, and that you use the information. So if there are no further questions, anyone? Okay, I'm going to close out today's training. So make sure that you share this, even if you didn't get the opportunity to share this while this was live. And shout out to my replay viewers. Whoop, whoop. If you didn't get the opportunity to share it at that time, whenever you're seeing this, make sure you share this. Do not keep this good information to yourself. Do not kind of sit in the corner and isolate yourself when it comes to this college process. What we need is community. What we need is a sense that we are in this together. So make sure you share this and make sure that you come back tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. and that you are ready with tomorrow's assignment. So that's it for this evening. Signing off, my name is Sia Knight. I'm the College Savvy Coach. Until next time, stay savvy. Bye.